Hi, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. You can reach me at this email here, at the support email here. Today, we're going to talk about the top 50 performance stocks right now that maybe you can buy now for short term. Disclaimer, all materials here are only for informational purpose only. I'm not a registered investment professional. So this week, as we mentioned the last market recap video for this week, if you haven't watched it yet, please do. It's August, well, I'm recording this August 4th, 2024. But this week has been a lot of events, including the Fed announcement, and Japan raising rates, and obviously the tech continues. The tech companies are still melting down, correcting quite a bit. So if you want to learn more about that, please watch that video. In this video, we're going to concentrate on the stocks that we've been looking at, especially ones that are correcting right now, that were kind of showing some leadership, especially in the small to mid cap area. And then we're going to dive into like more of the top 50 list right now, based on performance in the really short term, especially in the last week. So before we dive into that, top 50 list, let's look at the ones that are kind of fallen in this last week from previous week. So one of the groups are the building residential commercial companies. As you can see here, TPH, DFH, TMHC, MHO, GRBK, KBH. Now you can see now they all rank pretty low on the list. I'll talk more how this is ranked. Basically, it's based on price performance since July 24th to August 2nd. The reason they're all showing 0% is because they're really under the water from that day on, and so that's why. But let's jump to the chart right away. So like for example, MHO was pretty high on the list previously. So let's just look at that chart. This is TriPoint Homes. You can see how it just broke out from this base and pretty much did pretty well. Came up to almost the green zone, we call it, which is kind of the profit taking area, and then we start to fall pretty fast, right? You can see right here in pretty much 3 sessions I've been buying by in this green arrows here. Those are my buys as I keep adding on as it moves higher. But and I actually sold right here on this down arrow, and so yeah. So but you can see in Thursday, Friday, which is a pretty heavy down day for especially small caps. I mean in all index, but the small caps took the brunt of this selling this week as well. So, but it fell basically to the 10-day moving. 10 days is the green line, 21 days the pink line, and you can see we fell below it, and we tried to close where the pink is, right? So that is where we at. And I mean the rebound here from the bottom of this range might be potentially over for the selling. We're not sure. And we see a lot of charts, right, like that, especially for the stronger stocks. So right here you see the selling, and then we see the gap down, and then Friday, as you can see on Friday, it gapped down again, pretty heavy, but it did rebound right away. So that's a good sign right here. And then it kind of went sideways for the rest of the day, which is not bad. So like I said, it's possible that this sell-off is over for now. We're not sure like that. What we like to see is like a bounce like this, and that will put the home builders kind of back on track for its uptrend. So let's look at another one, KBH. Similar pattern you can see right here. And then we have MHO, very similar. Look, they all have the similar chart. If you look at the SHB, which is the index here for home builders, again, very similar chart. So they basically, you know, fell below the 21-day line, but it closed near the 21-day line. So again, we're gonna see a lot of charts that looks like that for the stronger areas, stocks, and it's not a bad thing, but it is such a fast pullback, and because I have tight stops, you know, generally around the 10-day moving average, so I'm stopped out in most of these stocks. But I just want to bring this up because this is the best group prior to this selling week, and so keep a close eye on this. If it does bounce, there's a high chance I will get back in, just because, you know, this is a very nice double bottom base right here, and we broke out, and you know, definitely there's still a lot of room to run for this group, and basically we came back to where the buy point is. So yeah. All right, another area that's doing well, steel specialty alloys, and we only have two stocks here, USAP and CRS. So let's look at USAP. Broke out from this nice base right here, and on earnings right here. So, and then it kind of gap up, and you know, it followed through the next day, and then it kind of came back down a little bit on Friday. Right now, the 10-day slope looks like this, which is a very strong slope. And so you can see it hasn't really come back to the 10-day yet. It looks very strong. Yeah, I'm still holding this. So this looks pretty good. CRS, also in the same group. You can see this one went up much faster. It gap up on earnings right here. So originally broke out right here. Kind of gap up, so you know, it make the, you know, 30% zone, profit taking zone here very fast here, and then, you know, this week I kind of got stopped out because of the 10-day moving average, pretty close to it, and it went below it, but it did kind of close near that 10-day moving average, so right there. So yeah, so you know, I'll consider getting back in if this kind of rebound as well, just because this is a very, like I said, it has a previous good profit, and now, you know, the 10-day is now, you know, getting, the prices did come back down, and if it bounced, again, this group looks pretty strong in general. Like it's been pretty strong. So another strong performing stock is this ALNY. In the finance consumer loans area. In general, the financial stocks in the small caps area have been moving pretty strong until this recent week. As you can see, this stock broke out right here, and it went up, you know, pretty much almost every day for like a few weeks, and we got into the 30% zone, profit taking zone, and then right here, it fell back pretty fast, right? So like just in 2 sessions it fall back quite a bit, and now it's below the 10-day, which is the green line right here. You can see, you know, I got into here on right here, and then more add onto it right here, and then I took my first profit here, second, and then here third profit. It's yeah, this stock is very strong performance wise. It's a little bit extended from the, you know, black line 200-day moving average. You know, and now it's coming back pretty hard. So I will still keep watching, just because, you know, it is a previous leader on my list that has performed really well, and I generally, you know, want to keep watching them, because if they do bounce right here, we could have another run. So we'll see how this goes. We had a lot of volume here. So now this finance consumer loans doesn't have many stocks in my list, but it is ranked 186 right now based on, you know, recent performance, like since July 24. So it's yeah, it's down here, you know, it's not at the top anymore, but like I said, I'll still keep an eye on this, just because it could be outperformed. But like in general, the financial stocks got really hit hard this week, you know, especially the banks area, like regional banks and stuff. So you see there's no really regional banks in the top 100 or even 200 here. You see the first one is ranked 214, NBIX, Then we have, let's see, more banks here, and USAN, those are bigger banks. But in terms of the regional banks, I think they have fallen quite hard down. Like right here, Bank South is FPB, Bank South is LOB. You know, again, those are pretty strong performers, but they have fallen. You know, you have TMP here, yeah, TPBK. So those are, you know, a few of the stronger ones that have fallen. And let's just look at the chart quickly here on the regional bank. You can see we broke out right here, lower entry point than the traditional buy point, right? Really nice uptrend right here, and then it just took a dive, right? Thursday and Friday. So those 2 days really just knock out so many stocks, right? In the regional banks area. It did, again, same, very similar chart, you know, to other stocks, which is, you know, drop hard Friday, gap down, and then it kind of rebound from the bottom. Very similar chart. So you can see here, right? Drop really hard, gap down, and then it kind of just gradually come back to the mid, you know, near the middle of this drop. So again, I'm not saying the selling's over. So this is the middle range of that whole day's range. You know, including the gap down. But if you don't include the gap down, it is closing at the top of the range. But like I said, to me, this is at best neutral, not really a buy signal. Here's the 10-day, right, slope. And so I follow the 10-day slope pretty closely. If most of you watch my videos, that's where I see how the stock react. If it can stay above it, that's what I usually look for. If it get rejected in that area, that's probably going to keep going down further, right? So we want to watch for that. But let's just quickly look at a couple of stocks that were on my list before, that did pretty well and then kind of fallen apart. So here's LOB. Here's a lower entry point, comes up. It hasn't really broke out from the traditional buy point, but then again, Thursday, Friday, kind of give back, you know, a lot of its gains. TBBK, this one, you know, pretty similar, but except this one actually broke out, and you can see all the ANDs here as denoted by IBD. ANDs are just basically, you know, higher volume buying, and so that's what's happening there. And then again, same thing, Thursday, Friday, very similar chart, right? So those two are currently, again, out of my list, because of my very tight stops, and but they had good gains, and now we just kind of coming back. So like I said, I'll still watch them, just because if they do rebound from here, there's a chance to get in. Again, in terms of the rebound, I need to see, you know, I have to see that it has conviction, right? It's not just a one-day bounce thing. Generally, I like to see it cross back about the 10-day moving average. That's usually my strongest signal. Even that, there's no guarantee. Even if you come back, sometimes it'll come back and then fall back down again. So there's no perfection. It's all about risk management. That's why I use stops to manage my risks usually, because I'm not watching the market all the time, and if it does fall fast, you know, it's really hard to get out once it falls a lot, right? So a lot of people are just emotionally attached. So I have that problem too. So I like to use auto stops, just to make sure that I can get out. Okay, so the regional banks, as I mentioned, in the financial area, got hit hard. The ones that there's not many stocks in even the top 100 here, but some of the ones that are having high relative strength daily and weekly chart, as well as have even close higher on Friday, which is unusual, but that's to really show the strength. Here's a few. CWAN, in the financial service specialty area. So let's just quickly take a look at that one. So this is Clearwater Analytics. So here's a long base right here. It kind of pretty much moved on earnings, right here, gap out, and then of the traditional buy point, and then it followed through on Friday, which is very impressive. So let's look at the 15-minute chart here. So here's the gap up, right, breakout pretty much, and then it hasn't really, yeah, even Friday morning, you can see it just didn't want to give up much, even compared to previous days, this area, and then it keep going higher. So, you know, again, I'm a momentum trader, and so I follow the momentum. If there's strength, I will just keep following that trend. You can see the stocks I pick usually have pretty strong earnings, and you can see all these numbers are pretty good. So in terms of earnings growth here, and on the weekly chart, you can see it's pretty strong actually. So this is a nice breakout. It's a deep base, small, mid cap, 5 billion, if you want to call that mid cap. Usually that's kind of where I put mid cap, starting mid cap around 5 billion. So yeah, really strong stock. There's another one, trade TW. I haven't followed that one, but yeah, that's it. Ideas here to look into. Okay, you can see, insurance really dominate here, right? Either in the property, casual, and title, and then brokers as well. So let's just look at a few of them. At the top here, KNSL. Here's the chart. It's coming back on the right side like this. Again, this all have deep correction, but the numbers look pretty strong in terms of the earnings. And here's the bounce here. Again, earnings is the trigger, so which is a good thing, because sometimes that's what it takes. It takes earnings growth to trigger that momentum, and we're getting that right now, right? You can see this strong gap up, and then the next day is still able to hold, because you can see it closed near the top of the range. Here's the 10-day moving average. So recently we tested that on Friday, and it bounced off. So that's a good stop there to put if you don't want to take too much risk. So my stop is probably pretty close to that level as well. So here's the bounce, and so usually I move the stop after it bounce, right? Because I don't want it to get too close to it. So probably as of Friday, my stop is this area now. Now if it does come back down, hey, I gotta get out. Something's not right? But if it's bouncing and it's gonna keep bouncing, that's a good sign, and then we could have another potential run here. So that's KNSL. Like I said, there's a lot here to look into. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but yeah, feel free. So there's that. There's all R&R, HIG in the insurance diversify, WRB, CINF, this KWD, and then there's see, yeah, and then we'll look at the insurance brokers as well. So ERIE Bro, and then Ryan here. So let's just look at Ryan, since it's at the top of the list, right? So here's Ryan. So Ryan, wow, look at this chart, right? Again, here's the earnings on Friday. It really moved back. The original base right here, and it gapped up right here, and then it kind of came back down and formed another base, right? That's what, kind of like a base on base pattern. And then it kind of came out a little bit here, and then it took off on earnings. So, I mean, depending on how extended it is, like I usually do buy when it breaks out. This is a good example, because the strength is there. I'm especially on a day like Friday where everything was down, I would really want to give this more props than usual, because it was able to move that strong on such a big down day on the market. So that, all right, so again, there's a lot of risk buying, right? And because it's a little bit extended, but just want to say it is a strong leader right now. Let's see if it follows through next week. So those are some of the strong stocks here. Again, financials have fallen a lot. It's not really there's only you look at this, there's only 3 stocks in the top 50. So I just want to bring this group up because of how strong it has fallen. Next sector we're going to look at is technology. You know, there's still some moving. You can see some high relative strength here. Actually, quite a bit in the top 100. You know, not too many, like, you know, 10 or 12 stocks. And then in the top 50 here, there's still some. We'll come back to those lists in a second. But I just want to look at quickly the ones that have fallen from my list, like BAN is one of them. So let's just look at the chart right here. You can see, you know, this is the early entry point right here from the trend line, and I started buying. It goes up really nicely. This was the slope of the 10-day moving average, and look at that break. It broke on earnings. That's really what happened. There's not much I can do. I have my stop around here at this level, and obviously I feel as early as I can on that day, which is Thursday, I believe. So we look at 15-minute chart. Here's the drop, right? It's a really crazy drop throughout the day after even still, and that's why we have risk protection. And it continued drop on Friday too, right? So this is a very significant drop. This is a, you know, a good to show you how I manage my risk here. Another one, Azure. This is Azure software. Again, we have this early entry point right here. It start moving up. You know, it hasn't really broke out, and so right here I took my first profit right here, and then this day on Thursday, it went below my stop right there, and so pretty much I sold the rest. So again, it did rebound on Friday morning after the gap up. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. So here you go. So here's the Thursday drop, and that's probably where I stop out right there. And then Friday morning, you see it gap down, which is incredible gap down, and then it bounced so strong in the second 15-minute interval, and then pretty much was able to hold the rest of the day. Now, is this selling over? Possibly. Again, we don't know. We see a lot of charts like this right now. All their stocks will have triggered, and most people are underwater depending where they buy it. It could be over. We don't know. So yeah, I would still watch this. It's really low on my list now. See, in terms of performance, because it's negative performance. So it's down here. Okay, let's go look at the ones that are doing okay. Coursera again. This was released earnings more than a week ago, and it bounced really strong. It is in the top here. I haven't gotten to this. You know, again, this sometimes see this gap up on earnings is so strong when it's so far away, and then they just pull back really strong too. Now it's 10 days, so that's why buying on gap ups on earnings are always a risk. Sometimes it will keep going, sometimes it won't, and it will just come back to 10-day. So especially in this environment right now, you know, it got to prove itself for you to get in, because it's a tough environment. So this pulling back to 10-day, you know, is pretty bad. You know, imagine I bought in that day, I would be much underwater right now. And so especially in a stock that has gone down so much, right? There's just lots of selling, people who want to get out, you know, and recoup some of their losses. So we'll see how it acts right here. Friday's bounce was really weak. If you look at intraday, I mean it did close, you know, where it opened, so that from that sense it's okay. But it hasn't really bounced in the sense of like, you know, recovering, right? So I don't know, but it's still number one on the list because of this gap up, for this group. And then we have PSN, also report good. And that's the only stocks that are, most of the stocks that are still at the top right now are because they did well, is because they have earnings, right? So here's another gap up on earnings. Otherwise, most stocks are down. So they have to have some good news to even like, and you can see like stocks like this, you know, because they have good earnings, now the relative strength is outperforming the general market, right? Because of the earnings. Now, but again, gap up right here, same thing. But you know, the next day it fall back, and then it fall a little bit more. Now here's the 10-day slope. So one of the trade I follow quite a bit is in terms of like, what I'm looking for is how does it act when it comes close to 10-day. So here's the low point, and here's the 10-day, right? So it hasn't come close to it yet. So that gives me a lot of room to let it bounce, right? Especially if it does bounce here. Again, there's no guarantee. It could easily fall back again from here. But at least it's been tested, right? This low right here has been tested. And then, yeah, again, this is a really good stock right now, from my opinion, because of this rebound on Friday. So I'll definitely on my watch list. I haven't gotten to yet. It is in the technology sector, and a lot of technology stocks have been hammered. But again, there's always some that are kind of going opposite the trend. So AudioEye also, it didn't close strong on the week, but this is stock probably previous leader right here, really strong run, fell apart right here, built a base. Here's the cup with handle breakout on, again, gap up on earnings. What happened after gap up on earnings? Well, the market condition is so bad, it just pulls it all back right here, right? So the market general condition do influence stocks in general, right? Especially when we have such a strong downtrend right now. People are just selling stocks because other stocks are bleeding, and they, maybe they need the cash or whatever, cover margin. There's just so many reasons, right, behind selling. Anyhow, this one also fell back all the way to not just 10-day but 21-day. So again, all the charts are damaged right now. Most charts, 90% or even more of all charts are damaged right now. Once this selling stops, and see here, you can even draw a trend line on daily intraday chart to see, if it broke above the trend line, there's a high chance, right, that it can go. So and rebound, So here's the ideal situation, is that it bounced from here. So again, everyone's fearful right now, but there's always opportunity when everyone fears. So it's up to you how you want to manage your risk. IAS, another one that bounced on earnings. Again, most of these stocks are moving because of earnings. Very important to see if they will fall through the next day. So this is from Friday. This one has not moved much for a long time. So this earnings news is really good for them, and it finally moved. So we'll see if that train can get going. So that's IAS. Next one is TWLO. So let's look at that one. Also same idea. Again, they're all moving opposite the trend of the market. Again, this one has kind of bottomed quite a while ago, which is a good sign after a strong long-term downtrend. Here's Thursday's drop, pretty heavy though. So but then it rebound on the earnings. So it's a very strong earnings rebound. We'll see again. The key is, after a strong gap up on earnings or any news, you want to see if it can hold. And sometimes it can go even higher. But again, there's a lot of risk when you're buying extended from the 10-day, and depending what the slope looks like, how much room it has to give back. So something to watch out for. Again, you have Tyler here hitting new relative high. RNG. So again, most of these are on good earnings. F5 here. ServiceNow and Meta. So ServiceNow and Meta, they reported really good earnings, but again, the market conditions is so bad, it just kind of pulled them back down. And so here's the chart. ServiceNow has been under a lot of pressure, right? And then we have this bounce, and then we have this, and then we came back down here, and then we bounce again on earnings right here. And then it's been very choppy. And so I tried to get in here. You can see it didn't work. It stopped out on Friday, but it did close pretty much near the 10-day, right? So if it does go again, there's a high chance of success, because it's already been stopped out many people, including me. So, you know, again, I don't mind buying back in if it can bounce again. And this is so upside reversals is one very strong trade to look for in a downtrend, because whenever there's an upside reversal, that usually means, especially if it happened fast, and it did. Most stocks fell on Friday, gap down, and they recovered. So, you know, not the full amount, right? Because it's still below, the previous day's low. But let's watch, right, and see, you know, whether it can move from here. And that's my expectation, is that going into Monday, you know, we want to see a strong move moving forward, even a gap up, like. But you know, sometimes a gap up is not ideal, because gap up always need to feel back where the gap is. But even if it like opened really slow and just didn't do much and then accelerate upward, that will be a nice move for the market, and that will give me more conviction if I see that on Monday morning. So anyhow, that's a little bit about the trading strategy there for Monday. Meta, same thing, like, you know, have strong earnings but give back some of the gains on Friday as well. You can see right here again. I got in on Thursday, but then I stopped out on Friday, right? So, you know, very tight stops for me at this point, just to manage my risks. But you know, so here's the drop. It did really well, right? Like, you know, at the beginning, but then it still gave back, and then here you go. So we'll see. These two stocks, ServiceNow, Meta, are the bigger caps that are, you know, has strong earnings and did well. So watch those guys. TMUS in the telecom, MSI also in telecom, GoDaddy. This one has been one of the quiet tech stock that somehow, and it stems from, I think, originally from Mark Minervini. He was trading this stock, and you can see it just very consistent in terms of performance. Like, you know, really, yeah, something, I don't know what's happening with the company itself, but it has very little volatility, and it seems like there's just, usually that means there's a lot of accumulation, and this has been happening since the bottom here. So this chart looks really nice. You see how tight the trading is, right? The blue zone here shows how tight the trading is. There's so many of them, and it just doesn't want to give up much every time. And look at now. Again, it did report earnings this week, and it just blew to new high again on Friday. So I took a position there, and it's really, you know, it bounced off the 10-day right here. So let's see how this goes. So that's GoDaddy. EA also report good earnings. ACIW. Anyhow, that's in the top 100. So I kind of went backward a little bit. I kind of talked about the groups that are falling apart, like technology and financial, but there's still strength, right, as we see, but not many, you know. But this is now the top 100 list or top 50 list, whatever you, and based on performance, just from July 24th to now. And what you're gonna notice is there's lots of health in this, and then there's some retail, which is also, you know, again, these are most of the stocks here that are in the top are the ones that have good earnings, and they have actually moved on the earnings, right? That's why they're near the top. So give you some sense of what's happening in the marketplace. It's definitely recalibrating who the leaders are going forward, and maybe some of the fallen ones will rebound very strongly, like the ones we saw earlier. We don't know, but at least right now the ones that are showing strength in the top list here, let's go through them, right? INDV in the medical drugs health area. You know, again, I don't have time to go through all the stocks here. You know, maybe I'll show the top few, but really, like, INDV has good earnings, and right here, it didn't move much on the earnings news, but it didn't drop either, and then it has consistently moved higher. And here's the 10-day slope. Now this is still on a huge downtrend, so there's a lot of risks with this stock, but the way it's trading is so tight. I just can't believe how tight it's trading, and this is not a high price stock, so for it to trade that tight, I don't know, it seems like there's accumulation happening, and it's #1 stock because based on, you know, the pricing, because it's lower teens, so it can, even $1 move is like 10%, right? So right now it's up 24%. SHAK here in retail restaurants also have some good earnings. Again, most of this is because of good earnings, that's why they're at the top. But let's see if they continue to follow through on the uptrend, right? MOH in the medical managed care. We already talked about CWAN, CDNA in the medical products health. You're going to see lots of health here. Coursera, we already talked about KNSL, FTDR, building maintenance industrial. Also have good earnings. INSP, medical products health. SFM also have strong earnings on the retail supermarket side. NEO in the medical service. We already talked about Ryan. ALNY in the biotech. Dash, right? So again, Dash, you know, they sell like Uber Eats kind of thing. The DoorDash, yeah. PSM, we already talked about that. HAYW, POWL, Audio I, UHS, and other health. IAS in the so this one is the one in the technology. We talk about the RMD, medical products health. So lots of medical products. HWM, aerospace industrial. The aerospace group are pretty strong, and so this one also did okay. DXCM. This one obviously it fell really hard. It has come back this week, so I don't know if I would get into that, just because see there's a downtrend word here. It's just still on the downtrend. OLO, retail internet. We already talked about this one's here. Zim transportation group, that one is trying to bounce back as well. ACHC in the health, outpatient home care. RNG, we already kind of went through that. PHG, diversified. So there's some industrials also, not many, but there's some. MELI, retail internet. TTEK in the industrial pollution control. COUR in the medical health. CLX, this is in the soap area, cleaning area. BMY, medical drugs. ZGN, apparel clothing manufacturer. Southern, this is in the utility. Obviously they did really well this week because utility, this was more of a defensive sector. LTH, still doing well. TMDX, a lot of people are talking about this stock. See if we can, you know, run. Let's just run into that, just because this highlight quite a few times on IBD. So here's the breakout on earnings. It did come back all the way, unfortunately. So anyone who bought that day is probably underwater. And then Friday it did bounce from the moving average here, right here, the moving average. So it's potential that it has shaken out a lot of people. So let's see how that continues to move. It's definitely should be on my radar as well. NBIX, another biotech. AZO, retail, all the parts. HNI, office furniture, right? And TMUS even. So yeah, there's a lot of stocks here. Feel free to go through them. I'm not gonna have time to go through all of them. So take a look at them and see if anything pop up. I even haven't gone through all of them myself. So just there's a lot of stocks still moving, especially all the ones with relative high strength, which is you know, that's why they kind of moving up the list here. So yeah, feel free to check this list out. Anyhow, just want to close this off. Thank you for watching this video. If you find any of this helpful, please like and subscribe and share. And have any questions, put your comments. So we're still in the midst of earnings, so definitely this list will continue to shift a lot. And for those ones that kind of gap out on earnings, we want to see the follow through. That's very important, to see that it can hold and or even go higher. That's usually a strong cue to the market, and not just one. Like I usually look at many stocks. That's how I gauge whether the strength in the marketplace for momentum stocks. If they you know, because they usually do move as a group, like in general. And we saw in the market recap video that growth stocks got hammered this week. So so these ones are the ones that are kind of holding up or gap out on earnings. You know, they have some fundamental news that kind of help them kind of not succumb to this selling in the general market, and that's, you know, hence they have strong relative strength. And so that's what we're looking for. right? Strong relative strength, strong earnings, strong fundamentals, and strong technicals. So that's what it's all about. And then we kind of follow the momentum if there is enough momentum to carry on an uptrend. And yeah, thank you for watching this video.